All right, guys, welcome to the Crossman production show. Today, I have another just an awesome guest. Today's been a busy day. We've had some really great interviews today. So, today I'm bringing in Ginger Cressman, um, and Ginger is in two of my favorite movies right now. But well, one favorite movie and one television show. So we're going to talk about that. But I want to bring her in, and so we could get to know her and her journey, and learn a little bit more about Ginger. So give me a second, and we will bring her in. How you doing, Ginger?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited about this interview. I'm really, you know, honored to be able to talk to you and bring you in and share your journey and things that you've done and what you're working on and just uh, getting a chance to get to know you. So
Yeah, I'm excited too. Thank you for letting me be on here and chat with you.
awesome. So we'll go ahead and get started. So why don't you tell my audience kind of where you were born and raised, and what was life like growing up for you?
So I live in Fairhope, Alabama. That's on the Gulf Coast. So it's close to Mobile. If anybody knows where Mobile is. By the way, where are you located at?
I'm in Dallas. Dallas.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I grew up in a small town called Dixon, Tennessee. Actually, Charlotte, Tennessee, which is in Dixon County. Very small town. Growing up, my dad was a pastor of a
Okay.
small church, a Church of God of Prophecy. Um, and we lived just in the little parsonage next to the small church with a little gravel parking lot and
Wow.
trees and all the country little town.
Right.
Um, and so my mom was a stay-at-home mom most of my life,
Okay.
and I always wanted, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. That's what I always wanted to be, an
Okay.
elementary school teacher.
Right.
So I actually went to college to be an elementary school teacher. And before I started acting and everything, I was a teacher for 5 years.
Wow.
So
What grade did you teach?
I taught kindergarten, I taught first, I taught second, I taught I teach third. I think I taught third. A little bit of a little bit of everything that's in elementary, pretty much.
Okay.
But I had a great little childhood out in the country, and
Wow.
I lived in Tennessee until 3 years ago. So, and we moved around a little bit. I got married 13 years ago. I've been married for 13
Oh
years.
wow. Okay.
And we
Congratulations.
moved down here to Alabama 3 years ago. If you have not ever been to Fairhope, it's a beautiful town. You come and visit, you'll never leave though. So don't come visit unless you want to move away from us.
Right. Unless you want to move there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this whole town that I live in is full of people who discover this beautiful area. I should be quiet because everybody's going to come discover it if I don't.
Wow. So,
But,
so when you grew up, you wanted to be a teacher,
correct.
and so you started teaching. Where did you start getting into like acting? Was there like what kind of drew you towards acting? Yeah, that's
Okay.
two
Yeah, so
different
it's always
things.
sort of been like this. So
Uh-huh.
I've always wanted to be a teacher, right? And I
Okay.
taught my little brother how to read when I was 8 and he was 4. I used to
Wow.
force that poor child to play school with me all the time, and I
Right.
called it Cool School. That was the name of my school. Him and his stuffed animals. But I also always had a love for creative stuff at the same time. It
Right.
was always sort of, I want to teach, but I love all these creative, just the arts in general,
Right.
art or shows or plays or movies or any of that stuff. So I was in some plays when I was in elementary school. Anytime there was a play, I wanted to
Right.
be in it. And then when I was in high school, I was in the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe play, and I played the White Witch.
Wow.
So I still remember some of my lines. How dare you come alone? Did I not tell you to bring the others? That was one of my favorite roles, actually. Playing
Well,
the evil one is fun. Anyway, and then I also modeled when I was in high school.
okay.
So I did do all of this stuff all along the way, too.
Right.
Um, but I did more of the modeling side of it, really, and a little bit of like music videos and commercials and stuff like that.
Right.
And then, so I have 2 kids who came along the way as well.
Right.
So there wasn't as much time for doing, or didn't feel like for doing like all of these creative and fun things that I'm able to do now because I was doing teaching and everything. But somewhere along the way, okay, well, I'll tell you what happened. So Jesus Revolution.
Right.
So I found out that they were filming the movie. Okay, now let me tell you this first because this is really cool.
Okay.
So I've been telling my husband, like, I really want to be, I'm a Christian, so I was telling him I really want to be in faith-based films. Man, I just really want to do that. And this was after we moved down here to Alabama.
Right.
And so I was like, should we move back to Nashville or something? Because I used to be with an agency there that is like a Christian-based agency. So I was thinking, should we move back to Nashville? What do I need to do? Because I was so drawn to getting into all of that stuff.
Right.
And then I found out that 10 minutes from my house, they were going to be filming Jesus Revolution. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to be a part of that. I can't believe it. And and they were looking for extras. So I had never been in a movie. Okay, I'd been in like a commercial and music videos, but as far as being on a real movie set, I'd never done that before. So, but I saw how to put in for it because when I find something I want to do, generally, I will look until I find like a way to make it happen.
Right.
So anyway, 10 minutes from my house. Can you believe that?
That's awesome. So first let me ask you this. When you were teaching, what subject were you teaching?
Well, I taught elementary school, so I was teaching everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and my favorite was kindergarten because they were just so sweet and small. But then once I started having my own kids, I couldn't do kids at school and kids
at home. Yeah.
At home, some people are good at that, but I can't. I love them, but I can't.
Right. And, I have to tip my hat to you guys because my wife and my oldest daughter both work at a daycare. And they're all day working with little kids. I think my wife works with like the 1-year-olds, and then my daughter works with like 3-year-olds, and they're working like 30, I think, in a class.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I mean they have more than one teacher, but I don't know. I don't know that I would have that kind of patience.
Yes, it takes special people with special patience.
And especially doing that and then coming home and having to take care of kids too.
Yes, and some people are amazing at that. Some people really are.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I would necessarily be really good at that job.
You never know until you try.
So, well, that's awesome. So, you decided to go, chase your passion and purpose in, filmmaking, and then you want to be in a faith-based film, and then 10 minutes from your house, they're doing Jesus Revolution, and it can be your first role. That's awesome. So what was that like? Being on that set, in not only because this is a big movie, but for your first time in the acting, being on a set like of that nature.
Yeah, so it was really cool because here's the first thing I put in to be an extra, right? And then they started asking, "Are you COVID vaccinated?" And I'm like, even though I really wasn't. But my thing was this. I was going to say yes and then go get vaccinated real quick.
Right.
It's like, regardless of what people think about vaccine, not vaccine, whatever, who cares? So I was scheduled for these certain days to go be on set. And then I found out that it had to be 2 weeks after you had your vaccine shot that you weren't allowed on set until then.
Right.
And so I wasn't allowed to go to the days I was supposed to film. And I was so upset because that was my chance. And they had told me that I was going to get to be featured too.
Right.
A featured extra. But I wasn't giving up. I was like, no. So I'm like, look, this date will be 2 weeks after. So then is there some other days that I can do? And oh, thank God they said yes.
Right.
And so when I got there, you have to sign in and everything. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was scared to death. And I actually had a really bad headache because I was so nervous. I was
Right.
like, are they going to make me do? What are they going to make me do? I have no idea. I've never done this stuff before.
Right.
So, it was really amazing being on the set, though. Everybody was so nice. They answered all the questions. And you've seen the movie, right?
No, I haven't seen the movie
You haven't
yet.
seen it yet? Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was I was just going to be, I was cast as a church member. So there were a few of us that were cast as the, how could you describe us? Snotty is not the right word, but judgmental,
Right.
I guess,
Right.
church people. And so I showed up, and then we went in the church, and one of the assistant directors told me, "You're going to be Hirsch's wife." And so I'm like, "Who's Hirsch, and what does that even mean?"
Right.
I didn't ask him that though, because I didn't want to seem stupid.
Right.
And so apparently that was one of the actors that's playing one of the deacons in the church. And so it was just a God thing. They just set it up suddenly while I'm there. You're going to play this role. And so my job was to act judgmental of the hippies.
Oh, wow.
And, so what I did was I channeled things that I can't stand, which is not people that aren't like me. I love people that aren't like me, but I'm thinking of all these things that I can't stand. And it was so much fun. It was a blessing to be on that set. And obviously I loved it because I have not stopped for a second since we did that movie.
Yeah, I see that you're working on some new stuff too. So, and then from there, you've been on The Chosen, which is one of the shows that right now I'm binge watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that show. I'm really trying to get Dallas Jenkins to come on my show. I'd love to interview him.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I love that show. So, what was it like? You were on the Jesus Revolution, and you went to and you did a small role on The Chosen. What was that like?
So, I had never seen The Chosen yet at first,
Right.
but I knew I've got so many friends. Look at my hair. I have so many friends that are just huge fans of the show. I think that show has the most loyal fan base, just about, well, maybe not, on par with like the superhero movie fan people and I like those movies too. Anyway, so I had so many friends that were on that. I thought, how cool would it be to go spend some time on that set and get to be a part of that show?
Right.
So I looked into who does the extras casting on that.
Right.
And they wrote me back, and I was able to go spend some time on the show. So I was there for I think 4 days.
Wow.
And it was a really amazing experience. I've been on a whole lot of sets in the past year of all different types of movies. Like I was on sets as big as like National Treasure, the show that's out right now, and lots of independent film sets and just all kinds of different sets. But it was different. There was something different about being on the set of The Chosen because the people there are so dedicated to what they're doing, and they believe so much in the mission of the show that it just, you can tell everywhere you go, the people, just the attitude. And being on the set there is absolutely beautiful too. They built a whole set, which you're near it, aren't you?
I don't know. I was going to ask you, where's it filmed at?
Yeah, it's in Texas. And
really? Is it in Texas?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
You should probably sign up and go be an extra on the show. We can talk about that later. But yeah, it's a beautiful set there in Texas, and it was hot. Dang, so hot. People literally were fainting on set.
Yeah, it does get really hot here in Texas.
People that weren't prepared like me, I had to go home. Like the first day, I had to go home.
Yeah.
Not home, but back to my hotel because
Right.
I couldn't take the heat. That's how bad it was. But anyway, they can't control that. The people were amazing to work with and watch and be around, and seeing some of the biblical stories just be told. There's Jesus, not really, but
Right.
just saying the exact words that you've heard from the Bible.
Right.
I was there on some healing episodes, and so I was in line to be healed by some of the disciples on one of the episodes. And I mean, it was an amazing thing to see in real
Right.
life.
Well,
Just all the things
that's
come to life.
one of the things too is I'd love to see like those time period movies, how you could transform like a place in Texas apparently,
Yeah.
make it look like Israel. I honestly thought they were doing that overseas. I had no idea they were doing it here in Texas.
Yeah. They were filming it. I think it was, I believe it was Utah.
Uh-huh.
It was somewhere out there like that I've never been to. But then they built a whole nice, amazing little town there.
Wow.
And it's just really cool to be on set at that place. They were still working on it while I was there. This season is their first season that they've been filming there in Dallas, though. So they were somewhere else before. But yeah, I mean, I said in Dallas, but I think honestly, I feel like I need to. It's in Midlothian. Is that in your area?
Yeah, that's not really that far from here, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like maybe an hour, I think, from where I'm at.
I gotta go. I thought it was near Dallas, but I travel so much that everything sort of gets jumbled up, and I forget what is in what location.
Right. So let me ask you about that. So, going from a teacher going into acting, now you're doing all these amazing roles, and you're traveling. What's that like? I mean, that's a huge transition, from being a teacher and going into acting. So what's that like?
I tell you what, it is not for everybody. If
Right.
you like to have your life scheduled out and routine, this wouldn't be the thing for you. But that's
Right.
the thing that I love about it, because in the days when I was teaching, there was always something in the back of my mind, trying to plan something else to also be doing.
Right.
And in this industry, that is what the job is. I'm always auditioning for the next thing or looking for the next opportunity. And one day I can be like, I was in a movie called Diamond recently, directed by Steve Moon. So I was an ex rock star alcoholic in that movie.
Right.
And it was so fun to make. But one day that's me. And so we made another movie called like Gloves for the Cold, in which I played a cancer patient who is on her last journey of life. So, but one day you can be this thing, one day you're something else, and there's always something new lined up, and that's perfect for my personality. I feel like, okay, God had it in me to be like that for a reason, and now I'm able to actually use that part of my personality that needs to change it up here and there.
Right. And I think it's exciting too. I mean, to be able to play all these different roles that you're doing. So let me ask you, during this time, what's the one thing that you've learned on the way? Is there like one particular thing that you've learned?
There's a lot of different things that stick in my head, but one thing is to not take myself too seriously.
Right.
As soon as I start taking myself too seriously, all of the fun and joy and excitement of it is gone.
Right.
I started off. So my mom passed away 2 years. It'll be in 2 days. It'll be 2 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But that's part of, I think, what's also set me on this journey to being able to do this the way that I am, because I saw, and she was very sick. We were talking about my childhood, and I skipped that part, but she was very sick for a whole lot of my life, starting when I was a young teen. So I dealt with living with a mom who was sick and not getting better for 20 years of her life, watching her decline. And, I prayed for 20 years for her to get better, and she never did. But you know what? It's okay, because God still knows what he's doing, and he still has his reasons. And so, and I don't know why I'm saying this, I just feel like saying this, but
Right.
People question, why do things happen? We do not know why people go through what they go through, or what, why do we have to go through the crap that we do?
Right.
But I saw through her whole life that she wasn't questioning God. It was everybody else. She was so much more strong than the rest of us. And I think that's because God put that in her to know that everything's going to be okay. So anyway, though, when she passed away, right, I've seen the end. I know what happens. We're all going to be gone at some point.
Right.
And it set me on this journey to be able to do the stuff that I do, the stuff that scares me to death, like this right now talking to you scares me to death. But I know that that there's a bigger picture. And so the things that used to bother me or scare me, or the things that we worry about that don't really matter, they're sort of gone. Like sometimes when you lose somebody, you reach this point in your mind that you realize what's important, so much so that the little stuff just isn't what it was to you anymore. And you know, I know I only got this one life, so I might as well go try to do the things that I enjoy and help people along the way. And you just can't take yourself too seriously, because the things that we think matter aren't really the things that matter. You know? Helping other people. I love when people ask me advice about the industry and I actually know the answer. They're not my competition. It makes me so happy to help somebody else with their questions about this stuff. So anyway, that's one thing I've learned.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. I lost my mom to breast cancer a couple of years ago too. So I know what that's like. Yeah. So, and I agree with you. It kind of puts things in perspective.
Exactly.
Of what's important in, I think, well, there's two things too. So that, and then I think, going through that whole pandemic, I think kind of gave everybody a reset. And with everything shutting down with the pandemic, everybody kind of had a reset. And I think that also helped people to kind of refocus where they wanted to put their energy coming out of the pandemic.
Oh, I agree.
And, I see so many just amazing projects and stuff that's come out of that, with the independent films and, these new movies and stuff that's coming out. And then seeing people like you who, are going after and chasing, their passion and their purpose. And that's inspiring. That's, encouraging. And that's why I love bringing, people like you on so that you can share your journey, because that's awesome. You went from being a teacher, you wanted to be an actress, the opportunity arose, you took it.
Right.
And, and now look at you, you're doing, you've done what, about 4 or 5, but more than that, more than 5 movies now, right?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know how many different things I've done. I go and do, I did a whole lot of background. New Orleans is about 2.5 hours from my house.
Okay.
So a lot of major films are shot there, and that's the thing that's closest to my area. So I've been on, honestly, I don't even know anymore how many shows and movies that I've been in, but I keep meeting new people and working with, I just love working with people so much, whether it's background or, the independent films, or if I have a large role or a lead role or whatever. I love so much the people aspect of it too, the different people that you meet and get to work with along the way. I was trying to think before we talked about how many things I've been in now. Honestly, I don't know, because I keep just moving on and, moving forward to the next, looking forward to the next project all the time.
That's awesome. And, I saw that you're currently working on a new one.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a second, but, just, seeing everything that you're doing is, it's been awesome. So let me ask you this. Is there a particular role that you would love to play?
I get that question and I have such a hard time answering it.
Right,
There are certain projects that I see, and then I'm like, and then that project itself grabs my heart, and that's the one of the moment.
right.
But, I always, when I wanted to teach, I always had this image in my mind of me. You probably haven't heard of this show. There's an older show that's called Christy. Have you heard of it? It's like this pioneer sort of teacher show.
Oh
It's
yeah,
really,
sort of like the Little House on the Prairie type
yeah,
of
yeah,
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 yeah.
it's like that. So I always had in my mind that I wanted to be like a teacher, like on that movie for a show or for a movie.
Right.
But then too, to be in some kind of Marvel movie, yes, as a superhero, woohoo, that'd be fun. I'm all over the place with what I want to do. Ooh, or a Lord of the Rings kind of thing where I'm some
Right.
cool like elven queen. Yes, I want to do that too. So what do I not want to do? might might be a bigger and easier question to answer. I don't know.
Right. It's funny because like that's a whole range of like going from Christie to a superhero to
Yeah, pretty much.
so that's funny because I mean but it shows too that your willingness
Right.
to just want to be and and expand your craft so I think that's really cool. So um, let's talk about some. So you've been in Jesus Revolution. You're in Chosen. Um, you talked about Diamond. There's another one that you mentioned.
The other one I mentioned is called Like Gloves for the Cold.
Like,
It's not actually out yet. Diamond, we just premiered. Like Gloves for the Cold isn't actually out yet. We finished, might have been last month, maybe.
okay. And what's the one you're working on currently?
So I'm actually working on a few different projects right now. There's one that we're going to be filming, and that this one's the same director, Steve Moon. So we're going to be filming one in North Carolina called "No Skinny Jeans Allowed,"
Okay.
and that is going to be a clean rom com. It's going to be hilarious.
Okay.
Um, there's not a whole lot of info to put out about that one just yet,
Right.
but
Right.
he's still casting that one and stuff. But that's the newest one. I am in a another movie. This one is a superhero one, but
Okay.
I'm not a superhero in it. It's called The Jester.
Okay.
The Jester New Beginnings, I think it was. Sorry if I got that wrong. And Josh Woods is the director of that. So in it, I play a fortune teller.
Oh
So,
wow.
but it's New Orleans based. So
Right.
it's really cool. There's all this different like voodoo magic stuff, but
Right.
and then there's like a superhero that goes in and does this city saving whatever stuff
Right.
what superheroes do. Some of that. There's another show called Cajun Crime that's also New Orleans based
Okay.
that I'm a part of. There's another movie, I can't say what it is either. I can't even name this one, but you know who you are, director, if you watch this. I'm looking forward to it. um, there might be some other ones too. I feel like I'm leaving something out. But I do have a whole bunch of them lined up. The first 30 days,
Mhm.
Laura Ann is doing that. That one is like a found footage style thing. So we're
Right.
filming it ourselves, and then it's like the rapture has happened, and it's the first 30 days after that,
Wow.
and we're all like filming ourselves talking about what's going on in the world.
Right.
And so she has people cast from literally from all over the world in
Uh-huh.
that film as well. So it's gonna be really cool. Whole lot of fun stuff.
Right. That's interesting too. So you've been busy,
Yeah, always. I can't help it.
right? So
If there's not something lined up, I'm like, oh no, I have to find something.
have you thought about ever thought about getting like to, directing or producing a film?
Yeah, I have thought about that, and it's something that rolls around in my mind here and there. I don't really want to direct, although I am a little bit of somebody that sees something and wants to change it or fix it or say how to
Right.
do it better. I don't have any goals of directing though. Producing potentially. I do enjoy casting though. I think just like right now, I'm helping him cast that
Right,
skinny jeans thing. And that's really fun to me. I enjoy that part of it, trying to find the right person for the
right.
role.
You know,
But
being
yeah,
a you being a teacher, I'm thinking like, um, going from a teacher into acting. You know, I can see like you want to go into like producing or directing or writing or like expanding uh, your craft in the industry. So, but that's awesome, man. You know, I'm excited to see all the stuff that you're working on. The obviously the Jesus Revolution. I'm actually waiting for a friend of mine to get back from. She's in LA right now doing a project, and so I'm kind of waiting for her to get back, uh, and then going with her and her parents, who are friends, who are good friends of mine, to go see that together. So
nice. Well, tell her she needs to hurry up then, so y'all can go see it.
yeah, no, my wife's the same way. She's like, we have to go see it without her. She's gonna be so long up there.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
let me ask you this. So if somebody wanted to get into acting, um, what advice would you have for them?
So, acting classes are important. I don't do personally a whole lot of classes, but
Right,
I try to pick and choose ones that I think will be beneficial because I feel like there are a lot of people out there who try to teach classes just I guess to maybe make money on the side or have something to do or whatever. But I'm
right,
always personally a little bit worried about taking classes from the wrong people and picking
right,
up bad habits. But it is important because you do need a little bit of a foundation in there if you're going to be
right,
going for it. I do recommend that, but just to look into who does it. And if you're going to take classes, look at the person's IMDb and
right,
see if they've actually done anything before. Because
right,
if they haven't done a whole lot, maybe they're a great teacher, maybe they know what they're talking about, but I like to check up on the person and see what
right,
experience they have personally. Being on set as background is a great way to see if you even enjoy being on a film set
right.
because the days can be long. I just this past week I've been working. They were filming a Hallmark movie near my house, so
Mhm.
I jumped on as background in that. And on this particular one, we were on set at least 12 hours every day, if not longer.
Right,
And it can be very time consuming, and sometimes you just want to stab your eyeballs out because you've been
right,
sitting there so long waiting.
right,
But so getting if someone wants to get into acting though, I would recommend just jumping in and going for it first of all and seeing
right,
if you like it. But signing up to do backgrounds, there are websites that you can get on to find how to. One is called mycastingfile.com.
right.
That's good in some locations. I think in your area it's used a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, classes and jumping on his background and seeing if you enjoy it or not.
Right. You're saying, make sure that you're, finding reputable people if they're gonna, if you're gonna go see. I have two friends actually, Michael McClone, who's been in like a ton of different movies. He was in Psych, the television show Psych.
Oh, I love Psych.
Yeah, he was also in like Bone Collector and the Brothers McMullen. Great guy. And so he does that too. He does some acting coaching online as well. And then I have another friend. Her name's Pooja Maharendo, which she's a filmmaker, and she was on Chicago Med and The Lincoln Lawyer from the Netflix series.
Nice.
So they kind of teach classes. So if somebody's interested in that, you look for reputable people. Those are great people to go.
That's awesome. They do online classes or
Yeah, they do. And Pooja does hers like once or twice a month. Uh, and she's like super awesome person. Yeah. So,
cool.
but yeah.
And two, there's a monthly mentorship class that I've been doing for several months now. That's taught by
Okay.
Kirk Waller.
Okay.
It's called Actor Class, and
Mhm.
it's only if you subscribe, it's only $15 a month. And
Okay.
you meet once a month on the first Saturday of the month, and he brings in different mentors from the industry that really are people that are fantastic to learn from. So Kirk Waller plays Gaius on The Chosen.
Okay.
He's the one that teaches the class, and he brings in a different mentor so the mentor will teach, and the first little bit you're listening to them, and then you can ask them questions.
Right.
And then Kirk teaches. He stays on as long as we want to talk to him at the end too.
Right.
And like this next class, he's having Brent McCorkle, who was the co-director of Jesus Revolution, who's going to be the mentor. He's had, oh gosh, what's that man's name? The casting director who cast like Jaws and just major movies. He was one of the mentors one month. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name. I hate that.
Okay.
But he has people who have either been in the industry a long time or who are very successful, who come in and they just give the best little morsels of information. Sometimes it's actors, it's directors, talent agents.
Right.
That one I highly, highly, highly recommend to people that you can be brand new and be in there. You don't have to have done anything at all.
Right.
And Beverly Holloway, who casts a whole lot of the faith-based projects, she was one of the mentors one month. But that is a really, really good one.
Well, we'll get the information, and then we can post it like in the comments or whatever, and on the bottom of the interview, and people can go check that out. So
yeah.
So let me ask you, for people who are trying to follow you in the projects that you're doing, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably just being on my Facebook page. I'm almost at my friends limit, I think, on there, but I guess you can follow the page after that.
Right.
That's where I post most of this stuff. I do have an Instagram also, which people can follow that because I barely have any followers on that because I don't get on there as much.
Right.
But important things will be there. Those are really the only two social media platforms that I use, and then they can also get on my IMDb. I add projects as often as I can, as often as people add the project. There's things that I've been in that aren't on there. I wish everything was on there, but it's not. But that's another just way to follow along. But Facebook's the main place where I update and post things that I've got going on.
Oh, okay. So we'll put that information up as well, so that people can see what you're working on and follow and support the movies that you're doing. Watch them, and so that's awesome. But well, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for asking me to be on here. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great to get to know you and hear the stuff that you're working on, and and I had no idea you were a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So being a teacher and you're going into and following your passion and your purpose, that's exciting, and it's inspiring too to see somebody who's taking that leap of faith and doing all the great things that you're doing. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you very much for having me on here. Hopefully anything I said made sense.
Oh, it did. And it was, like I said, I had a great time getting to know you. And definitely you got to go see the movies. You guys got to go see the Jesus Revolution. And like you, I had a ton of people, telling me, go watch The Chosen, go watch The Chosen. And I'm like, all right. So I finally broke down and I watched it and I loved it. So
yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, go watch The Chosen. And now they know it's in Dallas or Midlothian, which is not far from here. I'm gonna maybe try to go find a way to get on site.
Oh yeah, exactly. Just do it the right way.
Right. Call up. That means Dallas Jenkins should be pretty close.
Yeah.
We'll go try to find and talk to him. So, anyways, but thank you again so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I had a great time. Getting to know you and talk to you.
Same here. I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Remember, until the next show, you are uniquely designed with a purpose, and always keep moving forward. Peace. Awesome. Thank you.